folks, Rick here. I'm back with another podcast, and I'm here to discuss what's going on in tech this week, some of my thoughts and opinions about what's going on in tech this week. And I also want your thoughts and opinions, and you can leave that in the comment section below. So let's get this started. So before I go through any of the tabs of what's really going on this week in tech, I really want to discuss Samsung. So if you could see a pattern in some of my older videos, I've really faulted Samsung, even though most of my devices have been Samsung devices. I really faulted Samsung for becoming complacent, a lack of innovation in design, a lack of aesthetics in design, and just riding the wave of something that they do that looks good or that's profitable, and just riding it to the point where it's beaten down like a dead horse, and it's just, you know what I mean, it forces them, by them losing money, to have to innovate. So you shouldn't be forced to innovate only when you're losing money, and this is where I see Samsung failing time in and time again. You know, I've mentioned videos with the Galaxy S6 lineup. When it first came out, Galaxy S6, it was beautiful, it was sleek, it was something new, it was fresh. And the reason why they went through such a dramatic change from their past devices is because they caught so much flack about the S5, how the S5 was supposed to be either glass or premium or metal, and it was just a plastic looking band-aid of a phone. It was a major flop for them, so they were forced, because they lost money, to innovate and go to the Galaxy S6 and put out something that looked really good to bring them back to profitability. So you would think Samsung would learn from their mistakes. So when everyone was jumping on board the Note 7 bandwagon, I kind of held back. I initially said I was going to purchase it, but from all the leaks that I was seeing out there from Note 7, I need to see manufacturers step it up in the sense of design and in the sense of aesthetics. If you're not willing to do that or take that chance, or you're willing to just make a carbon copy of last year's device, then you're not going to sell. So the reason why Samsung continued to sell is because they're so huge as a company, they're so huge in their advertising, that people are gonna fall for 2 or 3 gimmicks, a faster processor, and they're gonna basically buy the same phone that they had the year before. It's just human nature. Just like those iPhone people that are out there that purchase the same looking phone time in and time out when they purchase the 6 and then the 6S and so on and so forth. But I faulted Samsung a long time ago for the Note 5 when it came out. The Note 5 to me is where Samsung dropped the ball with the Note series. The Note series was known to be aesthetically different from the Galaxy S series. The Note series was known to be the powerhouse from the Galaxy S series, making it completely different for the power user, for the businessman, for those type of people. That's what it was made for. So when they went to the Note 5, and to me the Note 5 looked similar or almost identical to the Galaxy S6, I was really disappointed in Samsung. I just did not want to purchase it. I ultimately wind up buying it because it is, when you compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges, it was the best phone out there. So I had to concede to the aesthetic portion of it and say, you know what, I'm a power user, let me get the best phone out there. But I told myself, after this, if they make another phone that looks similar to the Note 5, I'm just not going to go with it. And that's what happened with the S7 lineup. So you have the S6, new design. The Note 5, same design as the S6. They kind of took an L on that. They took a loss on that. I figured they should have changed it up a little bit, but spec-wise, it was a better phone. So I kind of forgave them for that. So then you go to the S7 lineup, and this is, again, I was very disappointed with Samsung. They're beating a dead horse. They found something that made them money. They found a look that people liked, and they were making money hand over fist, but they decided to make the same exact design, but just, make incremental upgrades. And the reason why the S7 lineup sold so much is because it had everything the S6 didn't have. So you like the design, but it didn't have waterproofing. It didn't have micro SD, and it didn't, it didn't have some of the edge features and things of that nature. Now with the S7 lineup, you had everything that was missing in the S6. So again, I was disappointed, but I understand why some people decided to go with the S7 lineup, and I decided myself, and this is what I'm filming on now, is an S7 Edge, to go ahead and go with it. Again, disappointed with aesthetics, but it was the best phone out there, so I decided to go with it. So now with the Note series, I just said, you know what, I've had it. I am not going to purchase a Galaxy Note 7, because now for the first time, not only was the aesthetics not up to par, but the processor, the features were virtually, the camera were virtually identical to the S7 Edge. Same RAM, same camera, same features, with the exception of a few extra gimmicks like the iris scanner and obviously the S Pen, which the Note lineup is known for. So I didn't go with it, and I just refused to purchase it, and I'm glad I did. There's a lot of those people that jumped on the bandwagon and said, you know what, let me get the Note 7 because it's the latest and greatest. It really wasn't. They charged a premium for it, $850, and that $850 virtually got you nothing, in my opinion, nothing more than what the S7 Edge had, which you could get for $100 cheaper. And they just try to mass produce something and throw it out there, and boom, you had the explosions happening, and then you had the recalls, and then explosion of the recalled phones happening. And Samsung, to get to my ultimate point, lost a ton of money. They've lost so much money. They've lost billions upon billions of dollars because they put profit over the phone, over the quality of the phone, and this is where they fail. With that being said, it's unfortunate that it takes Samsung to fail or fall flat on their face and lose billions to step it up. Samsung has announced that they've initiated a crisis management team, and they said they need the Samsung Galaxy S8 to be a knockout out of the park to bring their name back up from the ashes, because now people are going to think twice before they want to purchase a Samsung device, because they're afraid of an exploding device. Whether it's a Note, whether it's a Galaxy phone, they're afraid that their phone is going to explode. Partly how you quiet that problem and how you fix that problem is to bring an aesthetic beast out there. You know what I mean? A lot of people might say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on this phone because this phone looks fucking hot. It looks great. So Samsung has announced that aesthetically it's going to be a dramatic change from what they were offering in the S7 lineup. So I'm really excited to hear that. I'm hearing talks about a dual camera. So, we can't wait to see what they're going to have in regards to that. I did hear some rumors that they were actually going to push out the phone early due to the Note lineup dying. But then I'm hearing other reports that they're not going to take that chance just to push out a phone and maybe have the same issue with battery that they had with the Note 7. So they might stick to its initial launch date sometime in March, April. But I was hearing some rumors as early as February. So when I hear something else, I'll keep you guys posted. But moving forward in what's going on in tech. So real quick, the Moto lineup. So I did a podcast a few weeks ago discussing budget flagship devices. Now these are devices that virtually have flagship specs at a budget price point. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. They do make certain sacrifices, but a lot of manufacturers are making the sacrifices in the right places. Like as opposed to putting a 2K display, they'll put a 1080p panel that are just as good, just as sharp. It's not, you know, for a phone that might be 100%, it might be 90%. It's like you could virtually, you can't distinguish the difference between the two panels. But I'm seeing something that's really interesting me. It's the leak of a Moto M. So apparently there's a Moto M device that's supposed to be launching November 8th. And here are some leaked images of it. So again, one of my criticisms for the Moto Z lineup was obviously I thought that the stock phone had to have premium features on it for it to compete in that price point. And when you had the Moto X with the latest processor, a 20 some odd megapixel camera at a decent price, and it had a lot of the key features, front-facing speakers, AMOLED display. When it had those key features at a doable price point, I think it was $399 when it was initially launched. That was great. They needed to maintain those key features and then add the Moto mods in addition to that. So keep the front firing speaker, keep the latest processor, keep a great camera, and the Moto Z lineup would have been amazing. They didn't do that. They watered down the phone because they want you to shell out an extra $200 or $250 or even $300 for some of these Moto mods. So why would anyone go out of their way to purchase a watered down version of a phone at the same price of what they paid for last year's model that had all the creature comforts of a flagship device, and then in addition to that pay for these additional Moto mods? So I think they really dropped the ball on the Moto Z, but I think Motorola has noticed that and they're offering this bad boy. So these are some leaked images. I'll show you some more pictures. It's the Moto M. It's a metal frame device. Obviously, it does not have a modular aspects to the phone. It's just a metal phone, metal unibody with a fingerprint scanner on the back. You do see your front firing speaker on the top. However, let's get into some more of these images. Let me see if I can zoom in on this one. Give me a second, guys. Boom, here's some tweets. Here's some better pictures. Okay, so it looks like you have, usually when you have both these grills on the bottom, it's a single speaker with the microphone on the opposite side, but they put the holes there to make it aesthetically pleasing. So I'm guessing one speaker on the bottom and one speaker here on the earpiece. So I'm really interested in knowing what this device is gonna offer. Price point, I'm hearing it's gonna be a beast of a battery. I'm hearing 5100 milliamp battery, and then I'm hearing some other rumors about a 35 to 4000 milliamp battery. So we're gonna have to wait till November 8th to see what it really offers and what the price point will be for this Moto M. Also, in regards to Motorola, I was also hearing some things of them bringing back the Moto X. So you know what I mean, the Moto X was a big success for them, and I'm hearing rumors that being that the Moto Z hasn't sold the way they wanted it to, that they might bring back the Moto X in this year's variant, which I'm happy to hear if they do. Again, one area where I think Motorola has been dropping the ball, I believe this is to be operating with a 625 Snapdragon chip. If it would have been, an 820 chip now that they're coming out with 821s and you're hearing 830s in the horizon, an 820 should be the standard. For them to offer a 625 chip is disappointing, but that's what I'm hearing in rumors. Maybe they will offer the 820 Snapdragon chipset. I'm waiting to hear for the announcement November 8th. In addition to that, so a little bit of a deal report. They're actually offering the Moto X Pure Edition at Best Buy right now for $250. So if you're looking to pick up a device, flagship spec device that is really good, front firing speakers, has all the latest and greatest on it, and it's just last year's model. Then go for the Moto X Pure Edition 250 at Best Buy. I don't think you could get a better deal than that on that phone. All right, let's look at another phone. This is the BlackBerry DTEK60. Okay, so basically BlackBerry is out of the game of manufacturing their own devices. They basically siphon off their device manufacturing over to I forgot the name of the company. It's a company that makes the Alcatel devices as well. But anyway, they're siphoning off the manufacturing of their devices and just having their devices branded as BlackBerry with their software and their security features on there. So let's look at this device real quick. If you saw any videos of the DTEK50, this is the DTEK60. I think they could have did a little better in the naming area, but this is virtually the DTEK50 and the Alcatel Idol 4S. So it's virtually the same phone with some subtle differences. So when I initially reviewed or I made a video in regards to the Alcatel Idol 4S, some of the critiques I had: one, that they took way too long to launch it, and then the innovation of the device, by the time it went out to the people, it just wasn't there. So to ask a premium price point of $399 for the Idol 4S with a 625 processor, with at the time when they launched it, didn't even have a fingerprint scanner. They just waited too long to come to the party, and in the time before they released it, a lot of other manufacturers came out with 6 gigabytes of RAM, and you know what I mean, 820 processor, even the 821s. So I just think they took too long. And one of the main issues I had was just spec sheet. It just wasn't up to par for me with other devices that were being sold at the same price point. So real quick, this is the DTEK60. It's actually the Idol 4S, but BlackBerry's version of it, with all the specs that you wanted to see in the Idol 4S when it initially launched. So you have a 5.5 1440 by 2560 resolution. You have a 21 megapixel camera, 4 gigs of RAM, which should be the standard right now, and a 3000 milliamp battery. So real quick with this, you have all the features of BlackBerry. You have the security suite of BlackBerry, which is the most secured and encrypted phone out there. So if security is something that you're really concerned about, then this is a great device for you to have. You have BlackBerry Hub, which it basically throws all your social media, your emails, and everything into one hub, so you could see everything in chronological order in one area. A lot of people love BlackBerry Hub for that. And it's just a great Android device. Price point is $449. It's a good price point. The back, as opposed to the DTEK50, the DTEK50 was plastic. This is a glass back, 21 megapixel camera. You do carry over those JBL speakers, so you have a pass-through on the front and on the back. So no matter how you're holding the phone, whether you have the phone on its face down, you still hear your music pumping out of the back speakers. And you know, who doesn't love front-firing speakers, especially in this price point? And I see a lot of manufacturers going away from the front-firing speakers, where they should be running towards it. And I'm glad to see that the DTEK60 has those key features, and it's a top contender for me for my mid-range flagship that I'm looking to purchase. Let's see what else we have going on. Okay, so I just wanted to discuss something about the LG V20. Okay, so now with the Note series, which normally dominated the phablet category, is done. It's dead. People are looking for other devices. The manufacturers are allowing you to switch to other devices at no charge. So I've seen a lot of people either go to iPhone, or people that can't stand OIS are going to the LG V20. So something I've been seeing in a lot of reports is that glass on covering the dual camera on the back. It's really fragile. If you want to check out a video from a YouTuber called Jerry Rig Everything, he goes through scratch tests and he damages the phone as much as he can with scratching, so he can show you guys, how hard your device is, how strong it is, how durable. And one of the first things he noticed, as soon as he started scratching the glass on the actual camera lens of the V20, it just, boom, just cracked. So there's been numerous reports of this camera lens being extremely fragile, and it cracks very easily. I don't know if it's because they use too much glass and this pane is just too big, but the camera lens on this is super fragile, and it will just spontaneously crack if you maybe drop it on the table a little bit too hard. So definitely recommending a case. I do not look like the V20 aesthetically, so that's one of the reasons why I never decided to go with the V20. But other than that, some facts about the V20 in case you're thinking about purchasing it. Also, Huawei Mate 9 is out. Let's see what else we have going on. All right, before I go into that, I had some other topics I want to talk about. So let's get back to my slides. So, realistically, the Asus Zenfone 3 Zenfone 3 Deluxe has come out. I discussed this in depth in my last video, and I just wanted to touch base on it. I was all set to pull the trigger on the Asus Zenfone 3 Deluxe. Some issues that I've been noticing that's making me reluctant. Obviously, price point. It's a $500 phone for the 6 gigabyte, 64 gigabyte, 6 gigs of RAM, 64 gigabyte memory version. It's $500. I would have liked to see them offer some kind of discount for the customers that pre-ordered. They didn't do that. A lot of the manufacturers offer $50 off or a gift card or something to sweeten the pot to pre-order their device. They didn't do that. So that kind of disappointed me. Again, I was concerned with the speaker quality and the speaker volume of the loudspeaker. I like to listen to music through the loudspeaker of my phones a lot, and that audio quality is something that's is a must for me. And then also I had some concerns with it not having Nougat out the box. So some of the key features of Nougat is one of the reasons why I stuck with Samsung, is for multitasking and having that dual window feature, which is now standard on Nougat. And it not having Nougat out the box was kind of disappointing to me. I haven't heard anything in regards to an update, so I decided to not pull the trigger, see what else is coming out there in the near future, and wait and see if that's the best option for me. So I don't have a tab up for here, but we will Google it. So another device that came out that's kind of taking the tech industry is a manufacturer. I believe they're a Chinese manufacturer. It's a company called Lieco. I really don't like their naming, but whatever, it is what it is. So here is the Lieco Le Pro 3. Okay, so here's some images of the device. So at first glance, it looks very promising. Okay, you have a great spec sheet on the Lieco. You have, let's see, let's go to news. Just want to make sure we have everything correct. Lieco. Bear with me, guys, 1 second. Okay, so I just want to make sure we have, okay, so here's the Lieco Pro 3. I don't want to pronounce it. I'm calling it the Lieco Pro 3. I know it's Lieco Le Pro 3, but I'm not French, so I'm not going to say it that way. Okay, so just so I completely I get it everything straight. The Echo Pro 3 launched in the United States. The Echo has announced their flagship. It's on sale for $399, but if you go to, because you could only purchase it through the Echo, if you go through the Echo store, I believe it's called the La Mall, this phone is rocking Snapdragon 821 processor, awesome, 4 gigabytes of RAM and 64 gigabytes of storage, great. Fingerprint sensor, awesome. 16 megapixel camera, awesome. 4,000 milliamp battery, awesome. But here's the but no headphone jack. So this is something that a lot of manufacturers are trying to copy Apple, and I just don't find it to be effective, and a reason why we're not at that point in technology where most people are using Bluetooth technology or Bluetooth headphones. A lot of people use them, but there are still millions of people that still use wired headphones, maybe for affordability issues and things of that nature, and people just don't want to deal with charging and spending the extra money. I myself still use like $10 headphones as opposed to $100 headphones because I just like them better. No headphone jack. Big flop for the Echo. I was willing to forgive them for that because I did notice a lot of manufacturers are making a dongle, but on the dongle it actually has both ports. So that was another concern about having no headphone jack, that when you're charging you can't listen to music unless you have Bluetooth. So people have created a dongle that you plug it in and it has both ports, a charging port and a headphone jack. So I wasn't too concerned about that. Next major issue, okay? No micro SD expandability. Huge failure from the Echo. The Echo, I might have pulled the trigger and purchased the Echo phone. You know what I mean? Metal unibody design, awesome battery, great processor, 64 gigabytes of RAM, 16 megapixel camera, but no expandability. So now you don't even have an option to go to a 128 gigabyte version. Maybe if they had, because it's on sale now for $300. Maybe if you had a 128 gigabyte version at $350, I would have spent the $350 because at that point I could forgive not having expandable memory. But your top model only being 64 gigabyte was a huge fail for the Echo. And ultimately I decided to shy away from the Echo Pro 3 just because, you know, everyone nowadays wants expandability. Everyone wants to put as much video and pictures and, you know, whatever the case may be, documents on an SD card, be able to take it out and bring it into your next phone. Granted, the Echo is offering anyone that purchases their phone, I think like unlimited cloud storage, but I don't want to have cloud storage. If I'm in an area where I don't have internet access, I want to be able to look at my pictures. So I think that was a major fail for the Echo. That phone would have took the tech industry by storm, but without expandability, without a headphone jack, I see it being a major flop. And maybe people, you know what I mean, with a really low budget might go ahead and purchase this device just because of the spec sheet. But when you really get into those issues, in addition to some camera issues, it doesn't have image stabilization, it doesn't have a lot of key features that cameras nowadays have, and I just can't pull the trigger on that. T-Mobile news. So again, I'm a T-Mobile subscriber, so let's get into some T-Mobile news. So the biggest news I'm hearing out of T-Mobile right now is not that. They're offering the Idol 4S. Oh, here's another picture of the DTEK60. It looks like to be a really nice device, and I have to see more reviews on it before I decide whether or not I'm pulling the trigger. Also, Alcatel Idol 4S. If you're looking at this device, it's the exact device as the DTEK60, but this will be launching with the same flagship specs, but with Windows Mobile 10. And I'm not a Windows fan, so for me this is a failure. Galaxy S7 Edge will now come in the blue coral variant. I don't give a shit. It's too little, too late. Where was that? Okay, they're gonna be doing some BOGO events for Black Friday, so keep your eyes peeled for Black Friday deals for T-Mobile. Here we go. So, for those people that decided to go ahead and purchase the Google Pixel device, I decided to take a pass again on the Google Pixel because every phone that seems to be coming out lately takes 3 steps forward and then 2 steps back. Base model of this device is 32 gigabytes. Boom, major fail. Next level up is 128 gigabytes. Okay, so if you wanted to purchase the Google Pixel XL, 128 gigabytes, and the reason why you would have to purchase a 128 gigabyte version is because there's no micro SD expandability. So again, major fail for Google for not incorporating micro SD expandability. So now here's what they do to trick you. Okay, so the 32 gigabyte base model, they know if there's no expandability, no one's gonna buy that one. Everyone's gonna opt for the next level up, which is 128 gig. So for 128 gig, you have to pay almost $850 before tax. Then after tax, you're spending close to $1,000. So this phone, and by no means whatsoever, is the Galaxy Note 7 or whatever the Note series lineup spec-wise for anyone to pull the trigger on that. For $850, this is going to be a major flop for Google as well. I think it was a big failure, and I think a lot of I think Google is realizing it will be a failure. So some of the manufacturers, or the cell phone carriers like T-Mobile, are offering an amazing deal for anyone that has a Google Pixel phone to offset some of the price points and the pain points of the price of the Pixel phone. They're actually offering a $325 bill credit if you bring your Google Pixel device to T-Mobile and purchase one of their T-Mobile One subscriptions, which is unlimited everything at a reduced video quality standpoint. So that's a good deal if you have a Pixel device and you decide to pull the trigger and spend an insane amount of money on this device. Take your phone over to T-Mobile, you get a $325 bill credit, which is not too shabby. What else is there? Let's go to Phone Arena. Alright guys, if you have any questions, any comments, again, leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. Right now, the devices that I'm really keeping my eyeball open for, like I said, I'm looking at the Moto lineup. I've heard some rumblings of the Moto X coming out again, and obviously with this Moto M launching on the 8th, I want to see price point, I want to see what it has to offer. I want to see processor, even though we're hearing a 625 in rumors. I want to see a lot of things, so I'm going to keep my eyes open for that. I just haven't seen a mid-range flagship that wowed me with camera, front-firing speakers, 6 gigabytes of RAM, selling from that $399 to maybe even $449 price point. That really made me want to pull the trigger. I have been seeing tons of Chinese devices out there, a lot of them which these companies are reporting on, but they just don't sell in the United States. So I am in the United States, so I really don't care to see a flagship device that I just can't purchase. So I think that's about it for today, guys. If you guys have any questions, any comments, again, leave it in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think of the Moto M that should be coming out this week. Do you think from the spec sheet it's something that you might want to purchase? Also, the DTEK60 Is that the best of both worlds? You have front-firing speakers, the BlackBerry Security Suite, BlackBerry Hub, and a lot of key features of Android that we've all grown to love. Is that something that you might pull the trigger on too, with the latest in processing power, camera, 4 gigabytes of RAM, front-firing speakers? Is that enough for you to shell out $449 for this device? And then again, let me know your thoughts on Samsung, and if you agree with me that they need to really hit it out the park aesthetically with their Galaxy S8 device, and if you think they're going to launch it early. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Again, I appreciate all you guys. Please like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.